Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out People of Reddit. Story 1. Stopped. My neighbor's bin's being emptied for over a month. I live in an apartment block and have a very noisy neighbor living above me. Me and other residents have politely asked him to keep it down a number of times, but he continues to blast music into the early hours. Our bins are emptied once a week and we have to bring them around the front of the building to be collected, but for the past few weeks I've been taking his bin back in before it can be collected. It's now massively overflowing and he left a note in the communal area asking whoever's doing this to stop. So I anonymously left another note underneath telling him I will stop if he keeps the noise down. Sure enough, he's been very quiet lately. Story 2. Don't mess with a scorned woman. My ex-husband used to pick fights with me so he could leave every single weekend and cheat on me. It took me months to catch on completely what was happening. Earlier in the week, if one particularly argumentative week, we went and bought him an all-new wardrobe. He has recently lost a great deal of weight and nothing fit him. Being the good wife that I am, I placed all his brand new clothes into the dresser after laundering them. Friday night fight night happened and he was gone. I received a call about his whereabouts and what he was doing. So first, I call the police and inform them that there is a completely illegal car, no inspection, insurance, or licensed driver, about to leave said bar he was at, and I was very concerned due to his heavy drinking about him being on the road. I then called the bar and explained that I was in labor, 9 months pregnant at the time but not in labor, and my husband needed to come home immediately. While on the phone, I got all of his brand new clothes out. I cut the toes and heels out of every sock, the crotch out of all his boxers, the armpits out of his shirts and made them into belly shirts, and cut his jeans straight up the pant legs to the pockets. I then proceeded to fold them all nicely and placed them back into the drawer. The next morning, after my father-in-law picked him up from the drunk tank, I had already moved the majority of my belongings out of the house and he went to take a shower. The loving wife I am gave him a set of new clothes to put on and waited for him to discover his new look. Best fit check I've ever witnessed. Just saying, don't mess with a hormonal, scorned woman. Story 3. Sure, we can have a meeting with all the higher-ups because I'm confusing you. TLDR, a co-worker flounders to save her job, attempting to throw everyone she can under the bus. For my line of work, I document everything. It's part of the job. As her final throws, after her entire team, minus her, was removed, she targeted me. Ceasing my boss's boss and multiple VPs. This was the wrong move. Signed, a person who is in intensive therapy for this kind of stuff, but it only half helped here in being kind and patient. Edit, based on some feedback, I'm rewriting the story to practice being a mix of concise but give enough information. At work, it's mostly numbers and spreadsheets with 1 to 3 sentence emails. Posted the original in the Story 4. Keep telling me to cut your tree down, good luck cleaning it up. This happened last year. My neighbors have a fairly big tree and have branches hanging over our yard. I know I can't really say anything about it, so I annoyingly collect dead leaves and branches that often fall into my yard. So I had enough and bought a pole saw and sawed off a few until my neighbors excitingly ran up to me and said I can saw the whole tree off so it won't ever grow back. I blankly looked at him hoping he would at least offer money or something, but I basically said I'm only sawing off what's on my side of the property. He kept trying to convince me I will never have to worry about branches if I cut off his whole tree. I kept saying no. He shut up for maybe an hour and then offered me a few skewers he happened to barbecue. This was literally our first time interacting, so it was pretty insulting how much he's sucking up. I declined his food and he got a bit hissy. I saw that there was a lot more branches left for me to saw off, so I thought even more, it actually might be a great idea to saw their whole 20-foot tree. So I gladly went up to the neighbor and said, "You know what? I thought about what you said. I think it is better off I cut down the tree so I don't have to deal with it." Even while taking the skewer he offered me earlier. His smile became bright again as I walked myself around the fence and went to town. Tree timbered down, I went to the neighbor and said, "All right, glad to help. Have to go back to my yard to clean up." He became hesitant and said, "When can you clean my yard up?" "Clean your yard? You only told me to cut down your tree. This isn't my yard. I'm not cleaning this up." He instantly gotten so red and I could tell it's taking him a long while for him to process what now he has to deal with. I took my saw back and even told him it's a rental and have to return it soon. I decided to make this post because this past year, it was left in his yard and wasn't touched. He just hired someone to simply get rid of it. Hasn't spoken to me since and had to say, his skewer tasted really good. Edit. Wow, this blew up. It's legal what I did, it's my yard and I can do whatever I want in it. I will enjoy the other trees that aren't in my property. A different branch ripped off and broke part of my fence and he didn't have to pay for any of it, so it's another good reason to make cut more off. Also, this guy kept bugging me while I was trying to do yard work and it was really annoying. He pretty much said, "Hey, it's okay, you can cut the tree down." Just the audacity. Edit 2. I don't get why people are saying YTA. Of course I know I am. That's why we are posting our petty revenge. Story 5. Menswear Meltdown. Back in the dark ages, I worked in a department store for extra cash. At the age of 15 I was gormless, and used to not standing up for myself, particularly against adults. At summer sale time in the holidays, I was horrified at being moved from haberdashery to menswear. Sure enough, I had to endure 5 full days of men wending their way to me with foolish smiles, asking to be measured for underpants. If I had been given £1 for every request for personal application of a tape measure, I wouldn't be a millionaire, but I would be a wealthy woman nonetheless. At close of business on the last day, yet one more grinning numpty turned up, clutching bargain underwear to his chest. He asked what size I thought he was and I cracked. I assured him that he looked like a small. He headed to the tills with his tiny tail between his legs. Story 6. Referee the game fairly, don't you want us to win? This was during my time in high school. To preserve anonymity 20 will suffice. Pre-var. During high school, US, I was making quite a decent amount of money as a certified football, soccer ref. One of the strict rules was that you couldn't ref games if you were the same age/affiliation of either teams playing. It was not strict. My father, who also had all his certs and did it in his own time, and I had to do a ref games many times back to back, due to a lack of any other certified refs. It was good money, and we didn't fuckaroo, we were professional, as much as anyone approves refs, and I'd really like to say fair, edit. However, when you deal with parents who, the word for it, Karen maybe, it becomes unpleasant. The situation I want to highlight, is when the refs of a specific game called out, and they asked us to step in as emergency teams, varsity HS girls, one of which, you guessed it, I attended. We objected, citing the rules and possible bias. Reply, no one else is available. Cue the shit situation when the entire team recognizes me pre-game, and I can't downplay it right in front of the other squad. Instantly the other team is asking about ref bias. Instantly. Fucking shit show already when we're just checking numbers and cleats. Dad tells them that you play now, or you wait for 2+ HRS for a different ref team, and he starts reminding both coaches about the games we've refed in the past. I don't remember these. I assume he was bluffing, and in the moment I'm trying very hard to avoid eye contact with the girls I know, stating his passion for the game and absolute adherence to the rules. The game commenced. Where is the petty revenge/compliance, you might ask? No, I did not act out against my father or the team opposite my own. Rather the opposite. I called offside on a goal that would have won the game for my gals. The insanity that ensued, the aftermath? 2+ months it took for justice to set in. One of their own dads had recorded everything, perfectly in line to show just how offside it was. And he caught on vid how much they harassed me, poor lil line ref. If it weren't for camcorder dad, I would have been mega bullied till graduation. As soon as the footage was spread, the whole I got 2 apologies, but everyone else stopped being rude and became extremely polite. We take what wins we get. Have a lovely day. 3. Story 7. Mess up paying me, I won't be happy. So a bit of background. I'm an industrial electrician in the UK, I subcontract work. In the construction industry there's a high turnover of labor, jobs are short so people are always moving from job to job. We have lots of WhatsApp groups between workers to share jobs, the jobs are short and sweet descriptions. Need 5 electricians in Hammersmith, call John on this number. I started a job at the start of the year, it was a disaster, inexperienced supervisors, no materials, logistics on site was horrible but it was near my home so I was willing to overlook this. Now we normally get paid weekly or bi-weekly on jobs, monthly is normally very rare. I invoiced the company and they forgot to pay me, told me it would be next week, I wasn't happy, packed my tools and left. The next Friday comes around and I didn't get paid again. I phone them up and tell them I'm not happy. They told me it would be Monday and they messed up. I knew it wasn't a mistake as I know other guys on the job that got paid. So I waited to get paid Monday to start my plan. I get paid early Monday morning, about 6 a.m. I open up WhatsApp and post a job, need 40 laborers for a job in central London, 16 per hour, call Adam on XXXXXXXXXXX. Within an hour I got a thank you message from the supervisor Adam. I spoke to some people on the job in the afternoon, his phone rang all day and had about 60 phone calls. Story 8. Limburger cheese. We helped our friends move into an apartment first floor of a house. The second day the landlord told them they had to move as the smell from their pot smoking was bothering the upstairs tenant. No warning, nothing. So we helped them move out and before we left we put Limburger cheese in various places in the apartment, behind the radiator, in the doorbell, down a vent, etc. I don't think my friends ever heard from the landlord again, but I'm sure he and the upstairs tenant smelled them for a while. Story 9. Horrendous neighbor and disgusting revenge. So this happened about 15 years ago. I was in my early 20s living in a slightly shitty apartment complex. There was this one neighbor who was about 40 to 45 years old. He had these 2 Pomeranian dogs who he never had a leash on. He also never picked up their poop after they went to the bathroom. The other issue is these dogs were aggressive. If you got anywhere near them they would charge at you, barking and nipping at you. The first couple times I told him they are supposed to be leashed as per the law, he just blew me off and he told me to mind my own business. The next time it happened I cocked my foot back because I was going to punt them into next week. The man became super aggressive towards me, threatening to kill me if I touched his dogs. I ended up going to the management but as is typical they did nothing about it. For months this went on. He started flipping me off anytime he saw me. I always just blew kisses back at him and waved like a Disney princess. Fast forward 6 months and my GF at the time had forgotten her purse at my apartment so she pulled up outside and ran in to grab it. She leaves and immediately comes back talking about some man screaming at her. I head outside and it's the same man. He's calling her every name you can think of. He's going on about how she can't double park like that and blah blah blah. I tell him he's just upset that someone 1/2 his age drives a nicer car than him, he drove a beater F150, and can afford the same apartment he has. He again threatens me and I tell him to try me at his own risk. My GF leaves and I head back inside. About 2 months later I'm moving to a different city about 20 minutes down the road. My petty revenge against him is the night after I moved I drove back at about 2 a.m. and packed dog shit underneath the door handles of his truck. I made sure none was visible when you walk up. The only way you'd find out is when you went to open the door to get in. Unfortunately I didn't get to see his reaction but I'm pretty sure I ruined his day if not his week. I know it's gross but revenge isn't always a clean business. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.